Yes, hello, welcome everybody. It's Chris here from the Ministry of Dice, and I'm back again today with the third and final part of our Battle for Faerun OP Kit retrospective. And as you can see, give us the Brady Bunch moment again, Dan. As you can see, I've got Daniel and Craig with me still from Ready, Set, Roll podcast. If you've not watched part 1 yet, or part 2 yet, stop now. You definitely need to go back to part 1. If for no other reason, then that's where you'll find out a lot more about Daniel and Craig and where they establish their D&D credentials and set the scene so we can feel like we're getting knowledgeable expertise. I'm still struggling with this remote audio. Can you tell? Just I feel like I'm doing these weird pauses.
Chipping away at the
But I keep trying to kind of take it off my ears so I can hear myself better. But then when I need to hear you guys, I keep putting it on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there you go, viewers. A little bit about how the sausage is made. I've got myself on remote audio so we can hear all three of us. But I'm slightly ahead here. I am there. Which will explain those weird pauses and why I keep mispronouncing stuff. But I've explained that in the third video now, not in the first video.
Yeah.
So they've watched two going, what's up with Chris? Why are you speaking weird?
Hey, it's COVID, man. It's affecting everybody differently.
Oh, don't even. There's I had a rumor you're not supposed to say it out loud on YouTube videos. It affects your algorithm performance. I mean, how are they policing that? For 4 months now, everyone's been talking about it. How do you police that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Gonna have to bleep that word out.
What did he say? It must have been real bad for him to bleep it. This is too hot for YouTube.
We don't do no bleeping on the Ministry of Dice. Yeah. No, we're hugely family unfriendly. When I asked you, we're recording right now, so the viewers are going to be watching this. But when I asked you before we started recording, did you see some of the videos? You know, you all up to speed. I was like, God, I hope they haven't watched our birthday stream. We did a live broadcast of us recording the podcast. So you know what I said before? When we do the podcast, we hit record and record the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now the normal podcast that goes out, I've edited down. So I've taken sections out of the conversation, cut it down, tidied it up. You know the game, Craig. You do that business over at Ready, Set, Roll. Yeah. But on the live broadcast, of course, they got the whole shebang.
Yeah, that's why we don't do our live shows.
Well, maybe one day.
We had a wild card on our crew, and he is a wild card. You don't know what's going to come out next.
No, I love it. Keep at it. One day, they'll just put you in the Gen Con After Dark sessions.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We live close enough to Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Gen Con's a big deal in the world of Dice Masters.
Oh, yeah.
We quite often have an event there.
For all board games.
Well, true. Yeah. Hang on. Let's not discount the UK Games Expo, Daniel. You know what I'm saying? Third biggest board game convention in the world.
Yeah. I was hoping that would have been going on whenever I was in the UK last year.
June, usually. End of May, early June, normally.
I just missed it.
Yeah, sure. I'll ask you about that after we finish recording. But for now, we're going to talk about set 3.
Yes.
Cards number 7, 8, and 9 on the Battle for Faerun. What did we say before? Faerun, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to kick us off with the first card there, which is the Zombie Minion Undead. I'll just put that under my camera for the viewers there. So it's a low-cost character. It's marked up with monster, but it's neutral. It's neither evil nor good, which is somewhat surprising. Or maybe not, I don't know. But its game text says, if a zombie is knocked out during combat, and it knocked out the character it was engaged with, return zombie to the field on his level 1 face. So clearly, I mean, maybe you'll tell me differently, but I'm assuming zombies in the world of D&D are very much, George Romero, zombies as I understand them. The game text seems to imply that, it raises from the dead. But is there anything unique, special, interesting that you can tell me about zombies?
They're hard as hell to kill, especially at low levels when you first encounter them. As far as like the game mechanic goes, when they drop to 0 hit points, you have to add, I think it's 10 plus the...
It's damage plus 5.
Yeah, damage plus 5. So then the DM who's running the game will roll that damage, so say 5 plus 5. And if I roll a 10 or higher on the dice, that zombie comes back up.
Right.
So he gets an extra round, which can be very deadly for a low-level party. And that's generally when you would see a lot of zombies.
Sure. So that's clearly reflected in the Dice Masters version of that creature then. Would you call it a creature, a zombie?
Yes, zombies are also...
He's undead. Yeah, undead creature.
Yeah. Although perhaps not quite as powerful as what you're talking about there, because with it coming back on level 1, the level 1 version of the character is kind of weak. You know, it's got 1 attack, 2 defense. It's very low numbers in the Dice Masters context, particularly when you've footed out a cost of 3 to buy it in the first instance. For a 3, you'd expect maybe slightly higher stats there.
Well, it's like it's losing an arm or it just lost its leg and it's just crawling towards you now.
Yeah,
they're just basically relentless.
Yeah. Get a gang of them together though, and one adventurer is out of their depth.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So what's the secret sauce then? How do you defeat a zombie?
You have a cleric.
Okay, like a dwarf cleric maybe.
Yeah, dwarf cleric. They have a special ability called Turn Undead, and all of undead creatures, depending on the level of the cleric, will have to roll a save. If they fail the save, they have to run away. Or if the cleric's high enough level, depending on what type of undead it is. So a zombie will just burst into flames as holy radiance just erupts their body because they are an abomination.
Sure. So, something I want to ask, and this is a perfect moment around it. You're building a warband. You're about to go on a campaign, a dungeon crawl.
Yep.
Now, as I understand it, in some instances you'll create characters afresh. In other instances, you'll have your favorite character in the top drawer. Get that out, but you're building the warband afresh. Does that kind of then make a dwarf cleric a meta must-have as part of your unit? Do you agree as players to say, right, well, we've got to have someone coming in as a cleric here. We've got to have someone rolling as a wizard. Tell me more about that.
I would say that you don't need it, but if you are a green party, and I mean, like, you're new to the game, it is very helpful to have a cleric on hand. If you are a rounded party that's played several games, there are other classes that can do cleric-like things that can make up for that lack of a cleric in the party build. Dan, do you have anything to add to that?
Like Craig said, green party, a cleric is a kind of a necessity, because if you don't have that healing source, which is also one of the things in D&D that's kind of a stigma, which is known as the healer. Like, you're just doing, your job is just heal the party the whole time. It's nothing else.
Sure.
And it's kind of got a little bit of bad blood going on with it there for that classification. But for a new party, it is a necessity, because, oh no, a party member went down. Anybody a healer? Oh no.
Game over, man. Game over. Yeah. Okay, bro. But does that then... hang on, let me line up my thoughts is what I'm saying. So, like, you've got, right, you need a cleric, you need a healer. We're noobs. Let's form our party using the best practice advice of seasoned, experienced pros such as yourselves. Does it get to a point where everything becomes meta? Or are you basing this on your understanding of, a level 1 to 5 recommended campaign is probably going to have zombies in it, but a 6 to 10, probably not?
No, but that does not mean you're not going to encounter an undead creature. In Curse of Strahd, which we talked about in the first episode about Ravenloft, that whole setting is you're going to be fighting undead creatures and werewolves and creatures of the night the whole time, and that goes all the way up to like level 10. Right. So building a party composition and know how to use your character, I feel like is more important than we need a fighter, we need a cleric, we need a wizard. If you have a paladin, which will serve as the fighter and cleric, you have other classes that can do multi-type stuff. You will be just as fine as long as you know how to play your characters and you have trust in your partners to play their characters the right way.
Yeah,
sure. So it's more about the spread and distribution of capabilities, resources, and less perhaps about that initial classification.
Yeah, if you have a party full of nothing but fighters, you'll be fine for a little bit, but eventually the DM's going to throw something at the party that's going to neutralize the fighter. Let's say a flying creature, and all you can do is throw a javelin at it each turn. That's going to kind of put a cog in your gear, you know?
Yeah. So inevitably then one of the fighters has got to grow their capabilities in a secondary direction.
Yeah, it's called multi-classing. So they can become something different to, kind of make up the lack of, let's say, he multi-classes into ranger a little bit. And now whenever he has the ability to shoot a bow, way more proficient than he did whenever he was just a sword and board type of character.
Sure. Sword and board, is that the lingo?
Yep, sword and board.
I'm getting there. I'm going to be stomping around talking to people like, everyone will be like, this guy knows his D&D. I know, I just spent an hour with these two guys.
Yeah. But yeah, Zombies originally came out, to get back to the original card.
Sorry, yes. It's getting late over here. Can you tell I'm starting to...
Yeah, but Zombies came out in Monster and Treasure, which was one of the original D&D books. I think it was one of the first 3 made, right, Craig?
Yeah, it was one of the first 3 to come out. It was pretty early on.
And zombies themselves have multiple types. They can be created from beholders. As a matter of fact, there's beholder zombies, unicorn zombies, wolf zombies, rat zombies. Zombies can sometimes have a plague, which is what spreads the zombification process. Because normal zombies actually in D&D don't have that spread ability unless they are a plague zombie, the carriers of the original transformation disease. So
there you go. Yeah. All right, thank you, Daniel. Okay, I'm going to take us on to the second card of the set now. Then this one I'm very curious about, the owl bear. You both laughed. I mean, I don't know where to begin. It's a legendary beast. It's a 5-cost fist character. It's got no main game text, just a global effect where they can pay a fist, and once per turn, target character gets +1 attack. And then it's got pretty decent stats, pretty even. It goes 1, 2, 4, 1, 4, 5, and 2, 5, 6, which I know won't mean much to you guys, but we'll know it means something to the viewers. So it's largely a vanilla card in some respects, but it does imbue other characters with a little bit more capability. So first things first, well, I mean, who came up with an owl bear?
The creators of the Legend of, Avatar: The Last Airbender, where they just started meshing animals together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Owlbears are a part of one of my favorite classifications of monsters in Dungeons and Dragons, which is the Monstrosities.
Okay.
They are beasts that are created out of magical experimentation or, like, say, an area that has been devastated by powerful magic and it's, like, affected the whole area. They're created from that, too. Awesome. Such examples of monstrosities: hydras. Behirs, which are like these giant lightning lizards with multiple legs.
Those things are badass.
One of my favorite creatures. Owlbears are just that. They are a creation of magical experimentation, mixing owls and bears together. They have like these serrated beaks and are just violent creatures, but cunning hunters, actually. They they can use like their saliva and whatever they eat, and it produces this musk, this smell that draws in other creatures, which turns into more prey for the owlbears. Owlbears in Dungeons and Dragons are actually quick to be either hunted down or used as pets, as like guard pets and whatnot, because they are so destructive that they can easily wipe out an entire ecosystem by themselves.
Wow.
So I don't. The plus,
Yeah,
you said they give a +1 bonus to other creatures or something like that. What is it?
Yeah, it doesn't. So from what you're describing to me there, it doesn't seem like this is certainly as a promo card. It doesn't seem like it's very thematically connected to where owlbears are placed in the D&D context. I'd have to go back and look at some of the non-promo ones, the kind of core set, to see whether there's something that's more reflective of that. But this one in particular just doesn't seem to tell that story, really, does it?
Their greatest fear is of a creature known as a pyralisk, which is like a cockatrice, but their gaze...
Oh, cockatrice. Yeah, we've got them in Dice Masters.
But pyralisk are cockatrices that can gaze and cause stuff to catch fire.
Wow.
Those things are in 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons.
How do they get around?
Pyralisk?
Yeah,
It's
shut their eyes.
It's an active gaze sort of thing, like they can pick and choose. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay.
So,
it's not like Cyclops; they can actually turn it off.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, so owlbears, the monstrosities, the result of magical experimentation. I love that. Mm-hmm. So give us another couple of examples quickly, Daniel and Craig, of monstrosities. I'm curious.
Is a chimera a monstrosity?
Chimera, definitely. The goat, lion, snake monsters.
What are those called?
A manticore.
A manticore. Yeah, manticores are monstrosities.
Manticores in the game yet?
I don't know if are griffins or hippogriffs monstrosities, or are they just beasts?
Griffins and hippogriffs are monstrosities as well.
Yeah. Okay. So just basically any monster that has multiple different parts like thrown together. We also talked about cockatrices as well. So
yeah, absolutely. The cockatrice is a curious card because it's just a damage dealer. Put it out in the field. And
in D&D terms, they turn you to stone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
stone gaze. It's fun stuff.
It's another one of those thanks for coming moments, isn't it?
Oh, they are an immediate party killer at the very beginning. Before you get access to things like 2nd level spells, you're done. You're dead. Your whole party.
Because there's nothing that can save you once you become stoned.
You just in someone's garden.
Yeah.
Ornamental from that point forward. Yeah, very good. Excellent. So there's the owlbear. And our final card, gents. We have another dragon. This is the green dragon, legendary dragon. I think this is an alt art version of a core set version 1, but I could be wrong there. So the green dragon, tying in what you were telling me in last episode, is evil. Evil monster. He's got breath weapon as well. But his core game text says, once per turn, during your main step, you may KO one of your non-player characters to give green dragon +2 attack and +2 defense till the end of your turn.
Okay.
So he basically eats his allies, or some version of that, you'll tell me, I'm sure, to become stronger.
Well, green dragons are known as the greatest deceivers and of dragons. They're deceptive, they're cunning. They use others to further their goals. So them KOing an enemy to gain strength happens all the time with green dragons. They would rather use somebody else than do the thing themselves. But that doesn't mean they're any less powerful than any other dragon. Their poison breath is devastating to other creatures. They live in forest-like areas.
Sure.
But
green dragon, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they are quite the beast. anytime you ever hear somebody talking about a green dragon in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, typically they're an antagonist of the group because they can really set up for some plot devices and everything like that.
Yeah, they're not afraid to find people that have connections to the party and send them in to just kind of cause chaos and as like a minion of them. And then as soon as that person becomes non-valuable anymore, they'll just off them and then on to the next.
Yeah, sure. And that game test is reflective of that kind of manipulative, deceiver nature where they're killing an ally to become more powerful.
So we were talking before the recording about dragons and stuff.
Yes.
Did you want to elaborate on that now? I know you said you were wanting to touch on it here because you said Bahamut was a card that was able to be played.
Oh, yeah, sure. So I was just... Craig here, folks, was in the second installment, which you should have watched by now and liked. We was talking about the Bahamut, the good god dragon, and Tiamat, the multi-headed, chromatic, evil queen dragon.
Yeah, see, you're learning.
Yeah, I got it. And so the green dragon is obviously a chromatic dragon who worships Tiamat, which explains the evil element.
Yeah, and the two just basically, they go at it all the time. Tiamat, Bahamut, they're always trying to undermine one another to, Tiamat is basically, she's been cast off into the Nine Hells, and she's constantly trying to find cultists, which are just regular people that worship her, that will gain power through her, to try to break her out. And when she comes out, it causes all kinds of hell. Then you have Bahamut on the other plane, and he's up in the celestial plane, locked behind a door, and it's just utter chaos whenever the two get involved with stuff.
Sure. And the green dragon's on Tiamat's side. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Well, that, gents, unless there's anything you quickly want to add, that will bring us to the end.
Well, I would like to say something. In every D&D book, there is an Easter egg. Now, in the Curse of Strahd book, I'm going to read to you what is known on the first page inside of where it says the credits and stuff. It has disclaimers under each and every one. The disclaimer for this horror-type novel is: the Wizards of the Coast cannot be held liable for any long-term side effects of venturing into the dead realm of Ravenloft, such as lycanthropy, vampirism, a fear of dead things, a fear of living things, an inability to sleep without the nightlight, and a +5 Holy Avenger under your pillow, and the unsettling suspect that Strahd is too clever to be easily defeated, and that this is all just part of some grand scheme of his to extend his power beyond Barovia. You don't think you could escape unless he wanted you to, did you?
Very good.
And each and every D&D book has a disclaimer like that, and they're always really funny.
These little Easter eggs tucked away in there. Brilliant. That's wonderful. Well, so my last question for you, just before I finally wrap it up. Have you got any insights as to why WizKids chose those particular cards as from all the stuff they could have chosen from, to base their promo ones on?
I know that Drow themselves are actually a very popular race to inside of Dungeons and Dragons. Like, some people held it as like one of Gary Gygax's greatest additions to Dungeons and Dragons themselves. Like, they became a playable race in second edition. Of course, halflings, they're fun-loving, but also a well-known. It's like every card was picked because I think it was well-known. Like the Dwarf Cleric, that's easily known. The Elf Wizard, yeah. Green Dragons, Copper Dragons, Owlbear.
Sure.
There's so much art of owlbears, like whenever they're young, like babies, and they're just all like cute and stuff. And then that little monster's going to turn into a death machine. But Yeah, owlbears are like a favorite monstrosity for everybody because, hey, they're cute, it's cute. But
Really?
Yeah, Dan, I agree with you. I think that it's like these are the staples everybody thinks of when D&D. You can't have dungeons without dragons, so let's throw some dragons in there. When you come out with a first beginning party, there's going to be an assassin because everybody loves playing assassins. We need a dwarf cleric because that's the best cleric, type of deal. So I feel like these are just the staples of the game. Sure. You have owlbears are. Everybody thinks of an owlbear, like Dan says. Zombies, when you've not 50-50 shot, you're either going to fight goblins or zombies whenever you first start out. So, I just feel like these are just staples of the game, and that was a good representation with 9 cards. If that's all you have to work with, that was a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I say, there's obviously the core sets that sit behind it, but yeah, there you go. Because as I mentioned to you guys before, the comic book stuff is often driven, I suppose, in the same way. It's like the most well-known storyline, or the most popular character. There's a reason why there's a bazillion Wolverines and Black Widows and Batmans across the Dice Master sets, because that's what everybody thinks of. Yeah, excellent. Well, that brings us to the conclusion of the Battle for Faerun OP Kit Retrospective 3-part special. I know everybody out there watching this will share this with me to say thank you, Craig. Thank you, Daniel, so very much for coming along and giving me your insights.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone out there, go check out Ready, Set, Roll, the podcast. So do you guys want to just take a moment to a little plug?
So we are on almost every podcasting site, such as Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Castbox. I applied for Pandora. I applied for Amazon. Haven't really heard back from them yet, but they're looking into it. You can go to podbean.com/readysetroll and you can find us there. Chris, you said you were going to have our little link for us.
Absolutely.
And if you want to follow us on Facebook, I don't really do a whole lot of social media stuff, but we post our some updates. We do character sheets. We post all of our episodes on there. Just different interviews that we've done with different people. We'll post on that, and you can get in contact with us on there. If you guys interact with us, we'll interact back. So don't be afraid to say hi. Other than that, that's really kind of the overview.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Well, thank you. So go check Ready, Set, Roll out, everyone. But in the meantime, I've been Chris. This pair have been Daniel and Craig. And I'll see you on a video, on a podcast, or over at BritRoller6.com sometime soon. Take it easy, guys.
Later.
Bye.